Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Tuesday. Tuesday. Ding, ding, ding. It's Tuesday. Oops. I overshot my page there. Yeah, happy Tuesday. How is everyone today? I'm actually going to read something from my website, and not because of any other reason than I was, trying to revamp my site last night, changing the colors, trying to change the menu, and all that stuff. Good morning, older sibling. And I'll get into it more after I do the card pull. But yeah, I saw what I initially wrote, and I think it's time to kind of revisit that. So I'm sticking so far with the mental health theme, all right, for the week, or at least for now. I know it will go into tomorrow. Tomorrow might get a little uncomfortable, but I think it is a good subject. I really, really do. Good morning, baby sibling. I really think it'll be a good subject tomorrow, so I hope people tune in, and I hope they stay tuned in, because like I said, I'm not sure how I'm going to do talking about it, because it is a very uncomfortable subject, but a subject that I think nonetheless needs to be kind of put out there, because it's something I just discovered. So until then, let's just get going here. And also, part of what I'm going to talk about is when people put in their 2 cents to thing. It was kind of something that I touched on yesterday at the end of the perspective when it comes to mental health. And so I'm going to cover that as well. But let's see. We'll probably save that for the end part because, you know, I get passionate about things. Wow, does nobody need answers today? I'm using the Angel Answers deck, so I don't know. Everybody must be doing great. There we go. Everybody must be doing great today. That one tried to come out. That one tried to come out. And I see that one right there. All right. Let's just get rolling. Let's get cracking. I'm a cracking. Okay, let's see what we got here. These are literally just answers, so there's really not a whole lot I can build on when it comes to this. But number 1, big happy changes. If you're waiting for big happy changes, boom, they're coming. I would like this card. I could use some big happy changes. So, big happy changes. Yeah, you know, and this is good news. This is good news. I will tell you this, okay? If you're waiting for big happy changes to happen, be open to them. Vibe high. When you vibe low, things find it hard to get to you and to reach you, okay? So trust me, I meddle in that category, just vibing low, and you know, so everything's knocking, but nobody's answering, right? Because maybe you got headphones on, so you can't hear anybody at the door. So take the proverbial headphones off and listen for when those things are knocking and saying, "Hey, we're trying to get in to get to you." Okay, so big happy changes. If you've been stuck and you're not sure which direction you need to go in, choose a new one. Choose a new one. You know, sometimes we get stuck in the status quo and we think this is going to be my life forever. But sometimes we have to take that risk, right? And just kind of jump out of our comfort zone and kind of get comfortable being uncomfortable to really kind of sometimes see what we're made of. You know, if you're struggling or you're not happy somewhere, don't just up and quit your job. Okay, that's not what I'm saying, because, you know, there are responsibilities that you have to take care of, but maybe start looking in a different direction, or maybe there's a hobby you like, turn it into a potential career. I have a friend who's a writer who was an admin, I believe, before, you know, she started writing, was able to quit her job. She has an assistant now, and, you know, she's just constantly writing. So, that's exciting, right? But, you know, I'm not sure if the story is true, but I read it a long time ago that, Francis Ford Coppola actually, no, wait, not Francis Ford Coppola. I don't remember. Never mind. I'll get back to you on that story, because it literally hit my brain and then left. But, or maybe it was the guy who wrote The Godfather. Okay, I think it was the guy that wrote The Godfather. So I can't remember if it was Coppola in the screenplay or the guy that wrote The Godfather. But one of them did it while they were working and then published it, and poof. So it must have been the writer. Was it Mario Puzo? I cannot remember these things. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? So if you're not happy, choose a new direction, but do it responsibly. Success. If you're waiting to see what happens, success, success. If you've been going through something and you are not sure if you're all the way through it or not, I think this card is telling you you are. I think this is also validation for some stuff I've been going through, that I've been working through on a very spiritual level, on a very mental level. That's like, woohoo! I told baby sibling yesterday in a brief text. It's like, I peopled today and nobody died. So, sometimes when my energy is shifting and I'm moving into kind of a new way of thinking, I talked about it in my blog yesterday, that I can become like such a great resistor. Such a great resistor. And it kind of frazzles my energy, and I get agitated, I get annoyed. And it's not a good place to vibe. It is not a good place to vibe, but I'm trying to be better at a lot of things. I'm trying to not let my mental health take over all the time, or to also use it as a crutch. Because sometimes I think I actually might use it as a crutch to keep me safe, because I am sometimes afraid of moving forward. I am sometimes afraid of change because I'm learning how to let go of control. I know, it's a process. But anyways, take action. I don't know what this means, but if it resonates with you, you know what you need to do, okay? Take action. If there is something you've wanted to do out there, someone you wanted to meet, someone you wanted to talk to, maybe a job that you wanted to go for, or maybe a new experience you've wanted to experience, do it! Do it! What do you got to lose, right? I mean, good or bad, when things happen, whether it's accepted or not accepted, whatever the action is you're going to take, or maybe you enjoy it or don't enjoy it, it's a lesson learned. It's like food, right? People are always saying, my mom used to say to people when I'd be like, oh, how could you eat that? And she's like, don't knock it till you tried it. And I kid you not, a lot of times she was not wrong. And then, you have to do that about face, right? And go like, oh, okay, you were right. It was actually really good. So you never know. And even if it doesn't work out, you tried. And so you have that under your belt. That kind of adds to your confidence, right? It's not, when you don't succeed at something, I mean, like, maybe it's just not meant for you. Okay? Try to just have the feeling that you're feeling. Try to, just go through it, grow through it, feel it to heal it, and then let it go and let it be a part of that brick in your pedestal of confidence. Let it lift you. Let it lift you, because you didn't sit there and go, well, I don't think so, because, what if it doesn't work out? You can say, you know what? I tried it. It didn't work out. That's okay. This or something better. So listen to your intuition. My intuition is it's been okay. My intuition was a little spot on about some news I got today, about a family member, but it's kind of, sometimes you just don't like your intuition. I know people who are like straight up psychic and have issues because it's hard to know things sometimes, and it's hard to feel things, but sometimes you just know, but intuition can also be a good thing. Older sibling and I were talking about this last night when she was going through her certificate program, her HR certificate program, and she was coming out of class, and her spidey instincts, we were talking about her spidey instincts, and this one person that was just seemed a little shady and sketchy, and it was nighttime too, and there was nobody else in the hall, so it's kind of like, you know what, despite the fact that I have to go to the restroom, I'm not going to lock myself and back myself into a corner, so I'm out of there. So your spidey instincts, your intuition, it can be used for a gazillion things, but follow it, okay? Because it is your gut, and your gut knows, okay? It's your sixth sense. Everybody has that, when you just sense danger and you're kind of like, yeah, maybe I better not. So you hit the bricks, or something or that intuition saying, you know what? Why not? Why not? Right? My intuition sent me to London. So, good things can come out of it. Ask your angels. All right. If you need help with any of these things, or with anything in particular in your life, ask your angels. For those who are not of the religious persuasion, Angels are non-denominational. Okay, I know that there are some places that want you to think that they are solely of a certain belief, but they are not. They are not. They are, they fall into that realm, yes, but they are there for everybody. Okay, they are non-denominational. They are out there to help you. Before I get into my depression talk, I know day 2, something new, but again, like I said, at the beginning, I'm actually going to read what I wrote on my website, because I have to tell you, I was a little impressed with myself. I know, what can I say? But then I'm going to go into a graphic that was sent to me, and I actually have this is on the main page of my website, shellbellinthemoment.com. I know, but I had to put it in there, right? I mean, everyone's saying a website, why don't you tell us what it is? So it's shellbellinthemoment.com. But I read it because yesterday I was talking a bit about high functioning depression, and how I really had to kind of come to terms with the fact that while I thought I was going into remission of depression, I was actually just functioning on a higher level. And when I read the symptoms, I was just kind of like, seriously? I used to feel like it was a child I had to take care of, which we named the floof, floof, that I've talked about in my notebooks that I write in. But now I kind of see it as having to be more of I don't want to say a counterpart, or a colleague. Oh God, it's along those words. It's along those lines. And for some reason, the word is just, I think I need to take brain vitamins, but, the word is escaping me, but I suppose counterpart would be the best word I can choose for now. Like an adult counterpart, just this Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, but without the scary side of the bad. Which one was? I never read that book. Which one was a bad one? Hyde. So I'm not sure what you mean about mind health, but thanks. But yeah. So there's this. I guess I just didn't want to have this separation anymore, because when I was growing up, I always felt there were two me's. The me that hid the secret, and the me that just showed the world that, hey, I'm okay. Oh, right. Sorry, baby sibling. I know, she's not wrong. This morning, I saw a box of my Arbonne Mind Health in my cupboard, and I'm like, I don't need that today. Boy, was I wrong. But anyways, thank you for reminding me. And it's so funny that she said that. And it totally, see, this is what I'm talking about. I saw that box 45 minutes ago, okay, or maybe 50 minutes ago. And already I was like, what's Mind Health? But anyways, what I was kind of talking about yesterday is how I had to go through this acceptance of what my mental health actually is, this dinged up mental health. And so today and tomorrow, I will still be talking, but I'm not going to cover the same things. Okay, I guess the reason I'm going back to yesterday is this. One of the things I was finishing at the end was talking about how people can be very judgy, and not just people who don't understand a dinged up mental health, but people who have a dinged up mental health, but somehow have theirs managed. And I say somehow because everybody's different. No two people with depression are the same. We're like snowflakes, okay? No two snowflakes are the same. No two people with depression are the same. You could have two people who are bipolar, right? And one is doing so fabulous, has it managed, has it controlled, and the other one may just be struggling. They might be on the same therapies. They may both have therapists. But it's all, I think a big part of it too is support. But I'm going to get to that because that's actually part of the graphic I'm going to read, okay, at the end of what I read on the front page of the website. But I was mentioning yesterday about this one girl that we follow each other on. Good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Eileen. We follow each other on, and I think I saw something from Ladina pop up. She's not popping up on the screen, but I think I saw a little heart or a like go by. But We follow each other on Twitter, and she is on several medications to manage her depression, to manage her mental health. And she was posting a few screenshots of these two people who just kept laying into her. You're not promoting the right kind of, encouragement for people. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You shouldn't be on all those meds. They're not helping. They're just keeping you stifled. They're doing this. They're doing that. And when I read into some of it and some of the things they were saying, I'm not going to lie, it was coming from a metaphysical point of view. Now, I am very into the metaphysical. I am very into just the spirituality, the metaphysical stuff, just all these things. And I was disappointed in them. And I'm going to tell you why. People are going to handle what they're going to handle in their own way. We can guide people, but you cannot force people, and you cannot shame people into believing what you believe. Okay? I am deeply embedded in the metaphysical world. It was something I gathered, like I said, I have a very full table. I do believe in God. And there are some people in the metaphysical world that'll say, well, you can't do both. I can do whatever I want. Okay? I can do whatever I want. You can do whatever you want. They can do whatever they want. But we do not have the right to tell people what to do. We do not have the right to say, well, I think you're wrong. If you want to have a discussion with somebody, have a discussion, have a conversation. But the minute you start getting combative, the minute you start getting defensive, and I'm not talking you in general, but just people in general, the minute people start getting defensive or combative, it's not a conversation or a discussion anymore. It's turning into an argument, or it's turning into somebody thinking that they have all the knowledge when they don't have as much as they think they do. We are not in control of other people's lives. Even as, I'm going to go on the limb and say this, even as parents, having been a child once and having had parents, I'm coming at this from a child's point of view. They raise us, they nurture us, they teach us everything they need to teach us, but they're not in control of us every moment of the day. Because, other times we're at school, we're off with friends, we're off doing whatever, and we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make bad decisions, but we're also going to make, we're also going to hurdle obstacles. We're going to do good things. We're going to make good decisions. And I think that's, kudos to people out there who are parents, who are just, especially all the ones I know, because I watch you and I just think, that looks like the hardest fucking job in the entire world. I'm just like, the patience and the love and everything that's required. I'm not that patient. I think, to be perfectly honest, I think I would have made a good parent. I make a good fur mom. But really, I'm just more like a fur mom pillow. So, but they get fed and watered. And they're very loved. So, older sibling and I make good fur moms. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, for all the people I have talked to and all the people, the majority, I'm not going to say all, but the majority of the people I have seen that are parents, not all of them. Some parents suck. Okay, let's be honest. Some parents suck fucking ass. I was always lucky that I had really good parents. I know that I've talked about some of the issues I've had with my mom, and I think that those were just an extension of, maybe pain that she had inside. I don't know, whatever it is. I've dealt with it. I've worked through it. I've come to an understanding that, I always thought my parents were perfect. And then when you start going through things, you're like, oh, they're human. And that's okay, because that's perfect for me. And so they're still perfect to me, but, they're perfectly imperfect for me. And, a lot of the stuff I learned was just, I don't know. I could go on about it all day. I had good parents. I had very good parents, and I'm very fortunate. And, But when I'm talking about now, especially a lot of the people on here now that I've seen as parents, I truly am in awe. I truly am in awe. To watch what you have to do every day. And, you know, we're living in a weird time right now. So, I mean, parenting during COVID, seriously, that's got to be rough. I mean, I have seen and heard and listened firsthand how difficult it could be. And so kudos to all of you. So before I jump into that, actually, we'll go over the list tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be a heavy subject. We'll start out with the Best Picture nominations for the Academy Awards. We'll do that tomorrow. But you'll probably know by then, but it doesn't matter. I'll give them out anyways, just because I'm kind of excited about most of the movies on there. Some of them, one of them I'd never heard of. One of them I have to watch. But it was not a movie on my radar, and now I have to watch it. But yeah, I think it'll be okay. So anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about with people putting in their 2 cents. You know, let people be who they're going to be. But here's the flip side of that. All right. If you're on social media, there's always going to be somebody out there who does just, they're going to have something to say. They're probably so angry and miserable in their life that, you know, and maybe you're insecure and they don't even realize it, that they are just going to give you the what for and tell you how you need to live your life because they don't know how to do it themselves. Okay. Everything I do on the perspective is exactly that, a perspective. It is a way of looking at things. It is a way of, you know, potentially steering yourself in certain directions. It's how you choose to be. All right. So, I'm going to read what I wanted to read on the website. So this is my own personal website. And like I said, I was kind of revamping it last night, changing things up and adding and removing stuff. I actually have a tab called Musings, and I'm going to start posting probably some of my written work on there because I love to write stories, and I think feedback is always a good thing. I was a little nervous about it because, you know, you don't want your stuff out there and then people run off and it's like, oh, this is my idea. But I'm kind of getting over that. So, you know, I mean, I'm actually working on a story I finished a few months ago, sent to my sisters. They never read it, but I'm actually redoing it now because I had some new ideas. It was more of a therapeutic write for me. And, it's also where I post my blogs, and I'm going to try to start getting into podcasting. I'm not really sure, but, I just need to find what, you know, I call everything I do random ramblings. Okay. You know, that used to actually be I think that was the original title of what this show actually was Random Ramblings, because it really kind of is. Everything I say is random. But this is it. This focuses on people with mental health and trying to bridge that gap between surviving and thriving. Okay. So my hope for Shellbell in the moment is that by chronicling my journey through depression, the ups, the downs, the swirls, the spirals, it will help people understand that we're not walking around with highly contagious moods. Instead, I want to show people that we who suffer from a dinged up mental health are just like everyone else, but that some days we have to try hard or just try really hard, period. My main focus is to help people on their journeys by opening up my mind to those who want to peek in, to show the whimsical, silly side, and to show that though our brains may not be normal, we who suffer from a dinged up mental health are. I am fortunate enough to have wonderful people on my journey, and now that I'm healing the parts of my life that triggered the depression that runs on both sides of my family, I want to reach out and be a hand that helps others bridge the gap between surviving and thriving. Mental illness, I personally believe, is a term that puts the stigma on people. Illness. Ugh, such an ugly word, really. Yes, it might be an accurate representation, but it is an ugly word. Since I know I'm going to have to manage this for the rest of my life, I've decided that I prefer the term mental health, because that is exactly what one is striving for, a state of good mental health. It is time to stop/end the stigma of depression and its various branches, because there is no room for shaming when it comes to mental health. Let us open the dialogue and talk about it, not shut it in behind locked doors. Let's work towards being the hand that guides and comforts and shows people who dwell in the darkness that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And so here's the graphic that was sent to me. I can't remember who sent it to me, so if any of you are watching that did send it to me, I apologize, but I do thank you. So this is also going to touch base on what I was just talking about when those two women were just, totally, just dragging that girl on Twitter, and for no good reason at all, other than they thought they were right. So, some people with depression cannot get out of bed. Some can. Some people with depression cannot keep a job. Some can. Some people with depression cannot eat. Some can. Some people with depression cannot stop eating. Some can. Some people with depression self-harm. Some don't. Some people with depression are suicidal. Some aren't. Some people with depression take medication. Some don't. Some people with depression have more bad days than others, and some people with depression have more support systems than others. And then the end of the graphic says, my point is that depression is not universal, and while there is a general cluster of symptoms, it manifests differently in everyone. You can't always spot depression on the street, in the grocery store, or at the gym. Depression doesn't always jump out at you and let you know that there's a person who is hurting deeply. Do not contribute to stigmatization. Do not. Do not. That is the number one thing that I want to stress here is do not add to it. People go through enough. I saw somebody on Twitter the other day who was upset. They have severe mental health, severe dinged up mental health. I mean, their struggle, it's persistent. It is daily. Just from the tweets I read, it is daily. But they were upset because they were talking about people who have mental health that say that, well, I did the work and I got better. I did the work. Okay, did the work. I've said that a lot, that I've done the work. But here's the thing that I think we need to explain. When you are a person that suffers from a dinged up mental health, you can't sit there and tell Joe Blow person sitting across from you, yeah, well, I did the work. So if you do the work, you'll get there. People do the work and they don't always get there. Some people, they struggle going deep inwards. Shadow work, as much as I promote it, I also say that if you are not feeling balanced, there's a balance scale and it is tipped severely, that if you are in therapy already and you choose to do shadow work, make sure you do it with your therapist. Because shadow work is not for the faint of heart. It is not. Mental health is not for the faint of heart. It is hard to deal with. It is so hard to deal with that I think, I think the reason I struggled with really, really, truly accepting mine until yesterday, and I really thought I had acceptance. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I've said I've accepted the fact that this is my brain. But over the last couple of days when I felt like I was in a free fall, just in the darkness, in a free fall for like 4 or 5 days. And I was high functioning, so I was doing okay. But last Thursday, that was like the beginning of the free fall. But I started falling towards a light, but I had to go through all these different emotions and all these different feelings just to get there. So my aunt is saying there's no point that one can say, okay, so now I'm okay. Everyone has their own time. She said hers came back after 20 years. I suppressed mine for so long that I think as I'm starting to kind of go through the motions of the healing and all that stuff, I'm not sure it's ever going to go away. But I'm learning the tools to handle it so that I don't have to deal with it every day. That it's just kind of that nagging behind you. But sometimes you don't even think about it, right? I can string together a bunch of good days now. Totally can string together a bunch of good days. But no two people are the same. And so I felt bad when this person said that somebody told him, I did the work. Well, great. That's you. That is you. You did the work. I've done the work, but look where I'm still kind of here. And I'm not sure how I would react if somebody says, well, if you do the work, it's like, you know what? I've been doing the work. I've been trying. I've been struggling. And a lot of times it isn't just about the resisting part. Sometimes it's just about the fact that, you know, depression, I don't know about for anybody else, but depression for me is like artificial intelligence. Every time I feel like I get ahead of it, it gets smarter, right? It's like the flu every year. I mean, we get the flu shot, but to be honest with you, there could be, and I'm not saying this as a scientific fact, okay, or scientific numbers, but there is more than one strain of flu that goes around every year. All right. The flu shot that you get is the one that they think is going to be the big one. That they think it's a guesstimate. Okay. And, you know, chances are if you got any of them, you will probably be able to fight it off better if you choose to do the flu shot. That's your choice. All right. I actually have to get one because of, you know, my cardiologist will not let me get out of getting them. But that's probably because years ago the flu put me in the hospital. But I had the big one though. I had the flus that make the news. So, but that being aside, when it comes to mental health, you know, my mental health is like, it is constantly getting smarter than me. And it's more like a game now. Sometimes it feels like, and like I said, it's like artificial intelligence. It is constantly learning, right? But the more I fill myself with the light I can find, and the more that I check in with myself, I can hold it at bay. And not to the point where, you know, those pains that you get that don't hurt, but they're kind of that nagging feeling, like they're there, they're just kind of there, and you're like, oh, seriously? It's like, why does this hurt? So it's not like it's affecting your life, but it's almost like that itch you can't scratch. You know, that one that feels like it's on your bone instead of on your skin. You're just like, oh my God, I can't get that itch. It's kind of like that. And my mistake was that I've realized is every morning at 8:01, my alarm goes off. Now I know it's a weird time. Right, 8:01. I do that because I snooze at least one time, and then it'll be 8:10. But actually, that's when I wake up. All of my alarms are usually like 1 minute past whatever it is, so that it's even on the next snooze. It's my brain. But at 8:01 in the morning, my alarm goes off. On the weekends, it goes off at 12:01. It specifically says on that alarm, mental health check-in. Now, lately, or I should say for probably the last year, I have used it for nothing more than to let me know that by the third snooze, I'm 2 minutes away from starting this show. And so I've used it more as a call thing than, you know, to get ready, get prepared, you know, get everything done that you need to get done. And sometimes I'm still late, as you can tell. But, I stopped checking in with myself. And I noticed that when I was checking in with myself, it was better contained. However, I will say this. In that time I stopped checking in with myself, I also fell backwards. I fell deep inside. And I found things that were so hidden, that I didn't know were there. I've forgotten were there. And I was able to come up and heal that. So now I know for me, I have to do that check-in every morning at 8 a.m. or 8:01 a.m. Or at least remind myself that when I do finish the show and I am doing all the uploads and everything, to take that time to really kind of sit down with myself and be mindful of where I'm at and to check in. You know, because it's important if you have a dinged up mental health to see where you're at, even if it feels like you're in the worst place in the world. For me, getting honest with the noodle in my head is where my real healing started. I had to stop repressing things. I had to stop ignoring things. Even with my dad, I mean, we all know my dad has had some health issues and the last couple of months, and he's still recovering from COVID. And I mean, it is a slow crawl to getting back to feeling normal. He sounds great. I talked to him yesterday, and we text every day, but and he sounds a lot better, but there's still a few things that kind of have him on edge. Not on the edge of his health, but on the edge mentally. Because it's like, well, okay, well, can I do this? And, because he was so weak and so sick that, there's certain things that I think just get stuck in your head and you got to move past. So, and there has been that worry, because I know it's going to sound terrible, but, or not terrible. It's not going to sound terrible, but he's my last parent and I really would like him around for a long, long time. All right. My mom passing devastated me. Absolutely devastated me, but it also sent me on my journey, and I'm not sure it's a journey I ever would have taken had she been alive. And that's not saying I want her dead. I did not. I would rather have her here. I think somehow my journey would have managed to play out, but the thing is, there were a lot of things I had to get honest about with myself after she passed, because my mom was a crutch for me. I always looked to my parents and my mom. My mom was a very strong person, a very strong-willed person. And my dad is very stubborn too. That's why I think he gets better so fast from all these things. And I had to remind myself of that. I was living so much in my mom's memory while my dad wasn't doing well that I feel like, I was worrying myself for no reason. Because whatever life is going to bring you, it is going to bring you. And these are the things that we talk about in these perspectives to give us the tools to manage the crappy things that are going to happen in our life, especially when you have a dinged up mental health. And it's not a bad thing when you choose to sit with something. Just, for me, I can't sit with it too long. I don't advise people to sit with it too long. But again, that's just my perspective. Sometimes you have to sit with it until you get so mad at it that you're ready to just punch it in the face and move forward. But for me, if I sit with it too long, for me personally, with how my brain works, I start to shut down. I mean, simply put, I start to shut down. I start to isolate. I have no energy to do anything. And I was kind of starting to do that because I was so worried. And there's adjustments I've had to make because I didn't realize that I still did that. Even while I watched myself go through the day, I did not realize I still did that. So again, if you have a dinged up mental health, you can be an ear to somebody else who may be struggling. Be an ear. If they ask you what you did, share. But don't share to the point where it's like, well, you should try this because it totally worked for me. It may not work for them. But the fact that they know, I mean, like people I know, before I went back to therapy, I had thought about it. This is a couple years ago. I've since graduated, but, and not everybody does. And if you don't, it's okay. If you are the person that needs to go every week, go every week or go when you can. Okay. I feel very fortunate in that, but I also made myself believe lies that I'm fixed. I'm a lot better, but I'm like those bowls, right? That they talk about, the ones that crack, and the Japanese fill it with, they mend them with gold so that you can see where they had broken ones. And it turns into beautiful art. I mean, I wouldn't, I don't want to say I'm a work of art, but you know what? The way I pieced back together my life, I like to think I'm a well-formed piece of art. Because I look at myself now and I think, wow, several years ago, you were a hot fucking mess. I mean, I could not see the light, period. I could not see the end of the tunnel. And part of it was because even with a torch in my hand, whether that wants to be the one with the flame or the ones that they call in overseas a flashlight, whichever one, even with a torch in my hand, I had my eyes closed. I put blinders on. And it was because I think there was a part of me that resisted because I didn't know how to live any other way. I've lived with depression even when I didn't know I had depression. I have, a lot of times not thought I was good enough. Even when my parents were telling me, we don't know where you're getting this from. You can do anything you want. You're a beautiful person. You're a kind person. You're a good person. My parents were telling me these things, but I didn't believe them. Even through the course of body shaming myself. And I don't mean body shaming myself just as a plus size person. I body shamed myself when I was this big. I had body dysmorphia. Bad. And I think for me personally, I did that as a protection mode. And that's kind of what I want to go into tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to talk about disassociation. And just as a forewarning, we're going to talk about as well, there's depression me and there's Shelly me. But no, seriously, I am going to share my perspective on disassociation and disassociation during sex. So that's why I say it's going to be a hard one. This is something I just learned, and it's made perfect sense in my life, and I wanted to share it because I think it has covered a lot of the fears that I've had. I also think it's covered why I am probably still single. And, you just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just single because God thinks it's funny. I have no idea. It just is what it is. But I do want to share it because I think it's very important, and I think it's going to help a lot of people who may have gone through certain things, and people who have gone through things like myself may be able to chime in and share what they've done to move past these things. So it's going to be uncomfortable because there's a part of me that, I don't share everything. But I do know that when I share about certain things, there are going to have to be allowances, permissions that I'm going to have to give myself to share about certain things and aspects of my own life. And I was thinking about this subject yesterday morning. Actually, I wrote it down Sunday that I wanted to talk about this, but as tomorrow got closer, as Wednesday got closer, because I knew I wanted to talk about this for Self-Care Wednesday, because I think it is going to be very, very pivotal for some people, and I think it will be for me. But like I said, there's going to be some things I'm going to talk about that I don't think should be embarrassing, but they're going to be embarrassing for me, not for anybody else. I mean, I'm not going to get all weird and wacky about this, but I am going to open up a bit. So it's not going to just be my noodle sharing. It's going to be my heart, my soul, that this tomorrow's perspective is going to come from. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And if you do not have a dinged up mental health, really kind of think back on what I just talked about and what I've lent in there. And sometimes people just need an ear. Sometimes they just need that shoulder or maybe the arms to hold them and hug them when they're not feeling at their best. Don't just be there. Just be there. No judgment. Just be there. We cannot fix people. Okay, we cannot fix somebody. We can help guide them. We can make suggestions. Like I said, I ended up back in therapy because 3 people told me, have you thought about therapy? And 2 of them had been to therapy already. One of them because their parent had passed, their own mom had passed a couple years earlier. And so, and by the 3rd person, it was sitting in the back of my head, but I had stigmatized myself so bad. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be judged. And then by the 3rd person, I was like, you know what? I don't care. I need the help. And I don't care what anybody thinks about it anymore. And so I had to adopt the saying, what other people think of me is none of my business. I know who I am. You know who you are. And even if I am a work in progress for the rest of my life, I'm going to do my best to live my best one because I know I deserve that. I know that I deserve good things in my life. And even in those moments when I feel like the world doesn't need me, I hold tight to that. You would not believe the amount of stuff that you cannot see behind this camera that I have on my wall to keep me in a good place. There are post-it notes everywhere with just little sayings here and there, and right behind the camera, I have my 5 Reiki principles. So they're very important to me to keep my mental stability. So, don't be ashamed, okay? If you have a dinged up mental health, it's okay. You're not a bad person. You're not an ugly person. You're not a gross person. You are a person who is strong and resilient and who has, days that they have to work harder at that other people will probably never understand. And Ladina's right. I'm going to finish it off with that. There is nothing wrong with needing a little help. She has been there and she has done that. So there you go. Again, thank you for sticking in here. Again, if you do not suffer from a dinged up mental health, I really think you should listen tomorrow, because I'm also going to talk about how to help people through these moments that they might have. All right. So have a great, great day. I will talk to everybody tomorrow. Thank you for joining me for Tuesday Thoughts, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook Live. It is public. You can watch it wherever you are, whoever you are. Or you can catch the replay on YouTube in, usually posted by noon Pacific Standard Time. If you do follow me on Twitter under GoalieFan1973 or Shellbell's Quest, you can also see it there once I post it. Okay. And, on those, I also actually post little quick thoughts that I do from TikTok every morning. So that's where I go right after this. So again, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to everybody tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.